I cannot hear you yet.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can. How are you? Good evening.
Hey, good. Good evening. Good evening.
So welcome,
Oh,
first
okay.
of all. How are you this fine evening?
Pretty good. I've been practicing my algorithms for the past couple months.
Oh my goodness, couple
Trying
of
to
months.
yeah, since like June.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You don't have to. But
Um,
by the way, just so you know, before you actually start, there is absolutely no like it's not mandatory to say your full name. You can keep your anonymity. So whatever you want to tell us about yourself is fine. But the more you tell us, the more I can kind of find the best questions for you. Um, so go ahead. Now it's your turn.
yeah, okay, let's see. What should I tell about myself? I'm a new grad. I
Okay.
don't have Yeah, I've been practicing some lead code for the past since June-ish.
Okay.
Um,
So were you
so I don't
working
have
on
I don't have a
hard?
lot of experience.
Okay.
I don't have experience actually in a working field, but um, I have some interviews this week, actually, some phone interviews. Um, I was able to pass some of the initial screenings, like that. They sent me some hacker rank questions, which I
Okay.
did last week,
Mm-hmm.
and then this week I have some phone interviews. So I want to just prepare myself for those, just try to get as confident as possible.
All right. That sounds like you're gonna benefit from this then.
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay. What is your language of choice?
Python,
Oh, that's cool.
Python 3.
That's pretty cool. So I'm gonna send you a code bunk where we kind of communicate about the problem. So
Hmm.
a code bunk is just a shared code environment. Probably nothing you haven't seen before. So when you spend time on LitCode, what mostly were you solving? Hard, easy, a combination, medium? Like what were you?
Mostly easies. So like 2 months ago, I was really struggling. Just um, like I can barely solve an easy problem. So yeah, but over the past couple of months, I feel like I've gotten more confident. I've gotten a lot better. Um, but I think I spend most of my time debugging problems. I think that's one of the issues I have.
Okay. So can you tell me a little bit about that? What do you mean by that?
I think usually I can find a think of a brute force solution.
Okay.
But then when I start in code,
Mm-hmm.
usually like it doesn't run the first time like I want it to, and then I feel like I waste a lot of time just trying to backtrack my work and figure out what went wrong.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Um, so what kind of positions are you targeting? Like web developer, backend engineer, front end engineer, just internships. What are you targeting?
Um, just new grad positions. I think just full stack,
Okay.
but I don't really have a lot of experience in web development. I've just been working on mostly algorithm questions because it's kind of like, kind of general. I don't really have anything specific. I just kind of want to start somewhere. Whatever they ask me to do, I'll do it.
Okay. Got it. Um, so let me think here for a second. So I think I actually have a perfect I think I have a perfect problem for you.
A perfect
Um,
problem.
yeah. So
Okay.
just 1 second. Let me find it here. All right. So just 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go ahead and start with um, let's go ahead and start with something. I don't want to say easier, but let's go ahead and start with.
Oh, please.
No, so I don't want to anchor like what I think is easy or hard, but let's go ahead and start with the problem. So what the input is this, right? So here, input is, and this is not JavaScript, right? So input is an array of
Mm-hmm.
n items. All right. So it can be something like -1, 7, 4, 5, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
5, 6, and 7. Now the output is an array of arrays of all the items that sum the total of 0. All right, so for example, if we have this,
Right.
okay, so if we have this, then it's going to be this. So it's going to be like -1, 0, and 1. And it's going to be
Is 0 one of them?
-1, -1, and 2. All right, so that's the output. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I forgot to just screen shit. Okay, so
okay.
no, it's not you. It's the chat.
Okay.
So again, the input is an array of n items, and the output is an array of arrays of all the items that sum the total of 0, but of all three items that sum the total of 0. All right, so the title of this, if we look at this, is called threesum. All right, so find all the
3 of them. Okay.
Yeah, so find all the 3 items in this array that sum 0.
Okay. All right. So my initial thought is that I can have maybe like 3 for loops. That's like, so like an I here. Oh, whoops, sorry. A J and a K there. And then basically what I'm going to do is move like the K from. So then I'm going to check if I plus J plus K, or like the array K. Type in all my thoughts out here.
Sure.
If that equals 0, then I'm going to append ijk to my, I guess I'm going to have a variable like results. And then I'm going to append ijk to my results array. So basically how it's going to work is that I'm going to start out with ijk at indices 0, 1, and 2, like in the description or how I labeled it above. And then I'm going to keep on moving it forward, like so, kind of like this. And then at every instance, I'm going to just check if those 3 numbers add to 0. And then I'm going to iterate until my 3 for loops are done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think if I have 3 for loops, this will be like a. So I guess this way is like a O and cubed approach. I don't know. I think it could be more efficient, but I think maybe right now I'm just gonna see if it works. I don't know. Do you think? What do you think? Do you
Well,
think I should just
I think we
put it
should
up?
I think you should start by the approach that you find the most comfortable. And if we find the big O notation to be uh, not good enough for us in terms of performance or in terms of whether we think we have a better solution, then we're going to talk about it. But for now, just go with the flow.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna see if I can come up with a solution.
Yep.
So, zero sum 3. I don't know. And I'm gonna have an array of integers, so nums. Okay. So I'll have a results like that, and then I just go like this for I in range length nums. Oh, that's a big tab. For j in range I plus 1 length nums. For k in range j plus 1 length nums. Okay, something like that.
Okay.
And then if nums I plus nums j plus nums k equals 0. Yeah, like that. Then results dot append the actual numbers, I guess. So yeah, nums I, nums j, nums k. It's really big indentations, but okay, something like that. And then at the very end, man, return results. I think something like that. But like I said, I may have like messed up my thinking or logic somewhere, and I may have to debug this, but I guess I'm just gonna try and see if it works or not.
Okay.
See how it goes. I should print this. All right, let's see if it works. For I in range, whoops. Okay. Parentheses. All right, let's go. Let's go. Append. Whoops. This should be an array. Okay. What else? Okay, let's see if it works. I think it works.
Okay, so we have -1, 0, and 1, -1, 2, and -1, and 0, 1, and -1. Yep, that works.
Cool.
Okay, so did you do this problem before on LeetCode, or is it just you came with the solution now?
I did something similar.
Well, you did two-sum?
Is two-sum the one with like 2 pointers?
Yeah.
And then, okay. Is that similar to this one?
Well, it is pretty similar, yes. Okay, so now I have a second question. Since you nailed this one,
Okay.
and this one is a bit trickier. Okay, so what I give you is this. So I'm gonna send you the question here. Here. And I'm gonna send you the question on Discord as well. Well, that's not here. That's here. Okay, great. So now I'm gonna go ahead and delete this one. And now the input is a string containing numbers. So for example, the input is going to be 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? And the output is going to be a mapping, a mapping of all the letters on the Numpad. All right, so that is the Numpad, in case people don't know what the Numpad is. Right, so let me do that. That is the Numpad. Okay. And if I give you, for example, for the sake of simplicity, let's say I give you 2 and 3, then what I expect is A, D, B, D, C, D, and then A, E, B, E, B, F, and then C, D, C, E, C, F. Okay? So for example, if I give you example,
okay.
so if I give you, oops, sorry about that. So if I give you 2 and 3, then the output should be this. Okay?
Oh yeah, I think I understand the problem. So for example, maybe some clarification. So the number 1 doesn't map to any letters. 2 maps to ABC, like on a telephone, I guess.
Yep.
3 maps to D, E, F.
Yep.
So I guess since we have the letters or the numbers 2, 3, for each letter in 2, I want to pair that with the other letter in 3. So for example, 2, 3, we have A, D, and then A, E, A, F. Okay, yeah, I see. Okay, so I think it seems like a similar problem to my initial thinking is it's kind of similar to the previous problem where I make like 2 loops. So something like,
yeah. Well, at the end, programming is all the same. It's a bunch of ifs and fors and loops and conditions, right?
no, it's harder than that. I'm kidding. It's way more than that. Okay, but okay. Anyways, so I'm thinking like for like character in. Oh wait, I have to map. First, I have to map every letter to each number. So I'm thinking I can first initialize every number with its appropriate letter.
Okay.
So I think the best way to do that would be, I guess, a hash. So def telephone, and it's a string, so a string of numbers. So 1, and then 2 would be like A, B, C. I think you can iterate through strings, so D, E, F. Okay. G, H, I, and then 5 is and look at the picture. G, H, I, J, K, L. M, N, O. PQRS 8 is TUV, 9 is WXYZ, and 0 is nothing. Okay. All right, so I'm thinking we can start out with like 4 C and that's kind of tough because I have to first find out I don't know how many numbers I'm gonna be given. So
No,
I can't,
you
so
don't.
like, yeah, so if it was like if it was just 2, 3, I can just have 2 for loops. But what if it was like 10 numbers? I'm not gonna write 10 for loops. So I have to figure out a way to handle the input. So let's see. Okay, another example. It's like 2, 3, 4. I guess 2 can be replaced with A, and then 3 can be replaced with D, and 4 can replace with G. Let's see. ADG, ADH, and then ADI.
All right, where are you stuck here?
Yeah, I guess I'm stuck.
Well,
trying to figure out a way to.
That's why I asked. Where are you stuck?
Yeah. I guess it's because I don't know how many for loops I need to replace all the letters, but I feel like you might not even need a for loop to go through every possible combination, right?
So let's think about it for a second. Your string that you receive is, if we think about it, an array of characters.
Mm-hmm.
So if the string you receive is an array of characters and you have a map, how many loops do you think you need? Let's pseudocode this.
So if I'm given 2, 3, for example, and then I think I need, how many loops do I need for this?
Yeah.
I think I'll need 2 loops. I'll need 2 loops for.
All right. So you'll need 2. So how does this change if you get 10 numbers? So if you get 2 and 3, you need 2 loops. If you get 2, 3, and 4, you still need 2 loops, right?
Do I? I feel like you need 3 loops for that.
No, how many loops do you need to write? No, how many loops does the code need to go through?
Let's see. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I.
Thank you, the tall pants, for the follow. Okay, let's pause here for a second. Okay. Now, I want you to walk me through what do you think the code needs to do. Don't write it. Just tell me what you think you need to do. I give you 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah. Okay. So 2, 3, and 4. So what I want to do is replace 2 with A, B or C, and I want to replace 3 with D, E, F, and I want to replace 4 with G, H, and I.
Okay. Well, so now you have that in mind. Now, can you make that array dynamic?
Which array?
The array that you accept of saying, I need to go through 2, I need to go through 3, I need to go through 4. If you need to go through them, right? If you need to go through them in a loop, can you store this index and then look at the map and then understand how many characters you have and then basically loop over those characters? So you know what? Let me go ahead and throw a curveball here. You can only accept 2 numbers.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I'll write something like this. Good idea. Okay, for C and doing here for the first number. So string would be like this, like 1 or 2, for example. Okay, whatever.
So can you walk me through what you're doing?
Yeah, sorry, I should be talking more, but I think yeah. So my first loop consists of let's do 2 and 3. My first loop consists of the number of the letters A, B, C, and then in my second loop it consists of the letters D, E, F, and then what I want to do is I want to equal, and then I'm gonna have a temporary string that consists of C plus C2, and then I'm gonna append that to my result. Yeah, so for example, in the first iteration I'll have A, and then I'm gonna add that to D, so temp is gonna be AD, and then I'm gonna append that to my result array. Okay. return result. Yeah, it's very naive, but okay. And then I think this should work.
All right, let's go ahead and try that.
Yeah, this should be a string though. Actually, I'll do it like this. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we have A, D, A, E,
Working
A,
as
F,
intended. Yeah, okay.
B, D, B, E, B, F, C, D, C, E, and C, F. Okay. So now I want you to get 7 and 2. Okay, so what do we get? Where is 7? So we get all the way to S. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so we have SA, SB, and SC. Great. Now, I want you to spend 2 minutes on line 26 and 27. And I want you to think about how can you make this dynamic now towards getting how many numbers you may get.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking for the past like 5 minutes or so.
I could hear you thinking.
There's gotta be some way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I wasn't talking, I was just like, it's kind of like frustrated. But okay, let me think about it. See if I can do it. Let's go. Oh.
So what are you thinking? Tell me about the solutions that kind of come into your mind. Involve me in your thought process.
I don't know. Sometimes I think I got it, and then it's like, never mind. Yeah, like at this point, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get it. Like, let's see. Okay, but I'll try. You mentioned map before. I'm thinking you may have to map like every character.
Well, what the map I was referring to is on line 23. What I'm saying is you can, for every iteration, you can look at the map and figure out how many other times you need to loop. But and I think the part that is throwing you off, thank you, Trippy Gary, for the follow. I think the part that is throwing you off here is like that you cannot directly relate to each of the numbers, but you need to first loop to kind of see what numbers you get, and then you need to loop over the map. But it doesn't make your code more complicated. So I'm trying to kind of have you see that and kind of try to understand where did you go wrong here in terms of misunderstanding the complication level needed in getting more than 2 numbers. Does it make sense? Because it didn't really to me.
Yeah, I think it's just it's too much pressure. Just kidding.
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5. Do you have like an output of what maybe like if I just list the output of what 2, 3, 4 looks like, maybe that'll help. If I see like what it's actually going to be.
Well, I think it's
so for 2,
it's where is 4? So it's ADG, and then
Like
AEH, right? Oh, sorry, it's like, yeah. So AEG and then AFG, right? And so on. But it doesn't really matter because once you have two, you can have the three as well.
this is my first for loop. Like, does it have to be the first letter of the string? And then, like in my second for loop, I can maybe dynamically. Never mind. Because like.
So I want you to think about whether recursion can help you here. Whether recursing on the same function can help you here.
Ooh.
I threw you a bone. Now you can do whatever you want with it.
I'm not good with recursion.
Okay.
Just kidding. Okay. So I know, like in line 29, I'm adding 2 letters. A D G.
All right. So let's try and kind of solve it together here. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see what we need to do first. So what do we need to do first? Let's go ahead and you see this? Are you attached to this code?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
No, don't. Oh God.
Okay. So now, what do we need to do first? So here, let's do. We do 7, 2, and 3. And for the sake of example, let's do 2, 3, and 4. So what do we need to do first?
We have to get the. We have to extract like the first number.
Why?
Why? Because that's how we start the problem.
Yeah, but we don't know what is the first. We don't know how many do we have.
Oh, do we have to find the length of
Why?
the string?
That's what I'm asking. Why?
Because then we know how many loops we need.
But the thing is, if you don't know how many loops if in programming you don't know how many loops do you need, what is the solution for that? So do you think looping over the characters is needed here?
I guess not.
Well, so let's try this. So for, let's say, a digit in str, and let's print a digit here. What will we get if we do that?
We're going to get the string, so 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so let's run this and see what we get. Okay, 2, 3, and 4. What does this tell us? That the first time we go through this loop, we get 2. The second time we go through this loop, we get 3. And the third time we go through this loop, we get 4. And that will be also the case if we add another one. So if we run this now, then we get 2, 3, 4, 7.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that help us?
Now we individually have all the letters on like in separate cases.
Okay. So now if I want to
Oh.
get the characters for each of these,
Okay.
right? So for example, if I want to get chars, then what I do is basically D digit, right?
Right.
So now when I do print chars here, what will I get?
I get ABC and then DEF.
All right,
and
let's
then
run the code.
GHI.
Well, I get nothing. What is wrong? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Yep. All right, so run this. So now what do we get? We get A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and then P, Q, R, S, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have that. This is 80% of the solution. How do you take the leap now to like solve it? So
Thinking I have to.
In order to do that, again, every time you go through this loop, you have all of the characters for each of the items. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have to make another loop that represents every character in that digit. Right.
Okay. So let's start there.
For C in chars.
Okay.
So that would be A, B, C.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then would I have to something like what am I doing? I don't know. Would I have to recurse again, and then that way I can get to the next set of characters? Of A, B, C. I don't know. Like I have to think about this like one by one for me to fully understand it.
Sure.
But
I'm here. I'm completely with you. Everything is fine.
Okay.
This is tricky. What? Take it step by step. Okay. Think about.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me give you another like minor hint here. Think about whether there is something you need to memorize, not in your brain, but in this structure. Whether there is something you need to memorize in order to help you go through the loops and not lose your position. And think about whether you need another loop or you don't need another loop. So now it's yours.
Okay, so now this represents A, B, and C, and what I want to do. And when I'm at A, I somehow want to add D, and then G, and then P. So so I know for sure I'll have to like C plus something, C plus D, I guess, but I'm not sure how to get to D. But how do I get to this letter though? And that's going to be in this. Oh, but in this, D is going to be actually if I chop off the first string or first letter in the string. So my string right now is 2, 3, 4. If I chop this off, then it's going to be 3, 4. And then 3 represents D, E, F.
We have 5 more minutes.
Yeah. I'll take it forever. I feel like I have to do some kind of recursion where like I call telephone again, but then I only want. I don't want the first. I don't want the first letter or first number anymore. Something like string. I mean, I don't know. Is that like on the right process, or I have to recurse and then just call the next string, but without the first digit?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Well, I know, but it's too big of a hint to answer that.
It's like I'm feeling like this. Okay. So what would this do? It doesn't look right, but.
All right, let's go ahead and stop it here.
Yeah, let's.
You're okay?
I'm fine.
Okay, cool. So how did you think it went?
I think the first problem, because I've kind of seen something similar to that, I did it pretty fast, or I got the solution pretty fast, even though I'm not sure if it's the best complexity. And then the second one, yeah, I guess when I looked at it, I got stuck, and then when I get stuck, I'm not sure if I'm gonna get like a light bulb moment during the interview. So yeah.
Okay, so I will kind of divide my feedback into two parts. One regarding the first part of the interview, and the second regarding the second part of the interview. So the first part of the interview went amazing. I was like, you solved it, and then I saw the printout. New Fire, thank you for the follow. And then I saw the printout. I was like, what? So to be honest, to me, it was pretty clear that you saw this problem before. And if you haven't, then you've seen something very, very similar, to the point where that question is no longer fair, and no longer really tests you. In a real interview, what I would expect of you is to say, "Hey, I've done a problem similar to this. So maybe the interviewer will decide to give you a different problem, because to solve this problem in like 3 minutes, it's literally you did it like 2 minutes ago. You know what I mean? Like you did the same problem on LeetCode 2 minutes ago, which is great. I'm not saying anything bad here. I'm just saying it's amazing. It's like literally I was like shocked. Now the second part of the interview, not so much. I think
that's one I haven't seen.
Yeah. So I think the main problem here is actually something that I see a lot, and that's something is not being able to jot down your thoughts in a way that is clear to you. So you're trying to jot down your thoughts in a manner that will be clear to me as your interviewer, but you're neglecting yourself in the process. At least that's what I felt. Other than that, there were parts where you went completely silent, and I had to like give you little nudges. And yeah, you lost yourself here in this specific problem. You kind of lost yourself. And it's not such a hard problem. Once I simplified it to 2 letters, you immediately had it. But once you needed to loop over another time, then you kind of lost the the your train of thought, so to speak. Yeah. Overall,
What do you mean?
yeah. Sorry.
Oh, I think you're like, oh, like you mentioned that when I was working on the problem, I was neglecting myself.
Yeah. Let me explain that. Because I think that's super important. So the thing is, the relationship in an interview is just that. It's a relationship. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to explain to me your thought process. And to me, your thought process was clear. But sometimes when you explain your thought process in a way that is not natural to you, then you can explain it, but it doesn't like register in your brain that this is the way to the solution. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you articulated it. I was like, oh yeah, this is the way. But then you kind of did the same person that explained it to me, and the person that solved the problem is like not the same person.
Yeah.
You know? So
when I do that is because like when you're asking me questions, like I don't want to give off the vibe that I'm like totally lost, you know?
Exactly.
I don't want to give off that impression that I'm like, oh, I'm like dumb right now. Sorry.
Exactly. So
I don't want to do that.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. This is a very, very, very common mistake. And I did an interview on I think Friday, and the guy did literally the same mistake. I was like, "Why are you talking? You're just talking. You're not understanding." I was like, "Stop talking for a second, understand it, and then talk to me again." Right? He was like talking. I was like, "Why are you even talking right now? Just understand first." So sometimes it's counterproductive to talk a lot. You know what I mean? And also use the same voice, and I don't mean like literal voice, but use the same vocabulary as you explain it to yourself to explain it to me. So
Okay.
I think that makes if it makes sense to you, let me know. If not, then I'm here for questions.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I really don't want to like just memorize or just like do so many problems that I know every problem. I just want to be able to just figure out like common techniques so I can when I see a problem I don't know, I don't want this to happen. I just want to like be able to figure it out. So I don't know, what was the technique to solve this problem?
So I think where first of all, what I'm saying, take it easy. All right. I mean, how long have you been coding? Have you been like solving problems?
Like 2 months ago, I felt like
No. I mean, coding in general. Like, when did you start like ever coding? Like, how many? Like, what? 4 years?
Oh, and yeah, I picked up in college, like freshman year, so like 2013.
Okay, so we're talking about 4 years, and it's not your full-time job. It's like not your 8 hours a day. You know what I mean? So that is a muscle. Like it's not a literal muscle, obviously, but that problem solving is a muscle, and it takes a lot of time to perfect it. So I wouldn't be hard on myself, seriously, because you still haven't looked at a plethora of problems to have like a tool chest of solutions. So I think, again, when all fails, break it down to smaller parts. So like I did when I removed your code here, I wasn't trying to be like sarcastic or trying to insult you. Sometimes like, let's start blank. And then I say, okay, so what do we need to do first? So sometimes if you go that way and I say, okay, what do I need to do first? So first I need to loop over the numbers. Now what do I need to do? Now I need to loop over the characters in each number. So let's do that. Now I need to concatenate them. So let's do that. You would solve this problem in literally 15 minutes. But because you try to fit in your entire problem into your brain, no one can do that. No one. You need to say, okay, what do I need to do first? What do I need to do second? What do I need to do third? And then you have to trust that at the end, the dots will connect. But first, you need to break it down to the dots. So again, first loop over, second loop over the characters, third concatenate, and then debug. You literally would be left with like debugging 4 characters and 3 characters and seeing how that works.
Yeah, definitely.
So when you think something doesn't make sense, it usually doesn't. Break it down to smaller parts.
Is that a good approach? Like, I feel like I guess I had no other choice, but when you kind of like break it down step by step, I feel like that wastes kind of a lot of time, and it's not like a good impression to the interviewer.
So let me ask you this.
You know what I mean?
If you would break it into little parts, would you solve it?
I'm not sure.
If you practiced...
Maybe. If I had enough time.
But what I mean, if you practice now, if you practice 2 months of breaking problems, just breaking them into their smallest pieces, would you be better at this? You would. So down the line, if you take a problem and you break it down and then you solve a problem like this, would this make a good impression on me? It would. So what makes a good impression on me that you get it? If you can break it down to smaller chunks, usually that means you get it.
Okay.
So when you did this, you actually did it with the previous problem. You just weren't aware that you're doing it. Because you say, okay, so I have a 0 index and a 1 index and a 2 index, and then I just need to slide the window into 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then sum it. This is breaking down the problem into smaller parts. You have the 0, you have the 1, you have the 2, and then you do the sum. If you try to fit that problem into your brain, then it's a hard problem. People do, hey, let me sort the array, and let me take out characters, and let me take out number 7s and number 6. Like, where are you going? Like, this is not the right solution, right? So what you did is like said, okay, so I have a 0 and have a 1 and have a 2, and then I'm just moving up the indexes as I move. This is breaking the problem into smaller chunks. If you would have done that here, you would have solved that problem in 15 minutes. But because you kept like trying to fit everything into one piece, then that's where you failed. That's what I feel, at least.
Yeah, well, I think also it's like you mentioned, you have to dynamically like create the arrays, and that's just something.
But this is literally I call this smart talk. It's nothing. It's basically loops. You know what I mean? So when I say that, you say, hey, what does it actually mean to do what he said? And if you would try that, you would say, oh, it's just a for loop. You know what I mean? So that dynamic part is just a for loop. That's it. A for loop is by nature dynamic.
True. Yeah, I'm gonna work on this problem afterwards.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Feel free to jump in the Discord and discuss your solution. As always, we're gonna love to help.
Yeah, it was a great experience. Thank you.
Sounds good. All right, bye-bye. Good night. Thank you for being with us.